Now, we got the perfect way to start, and the perfect way to start is with CM Punk news, as CM Punk is still under contract with AEW as of today, and his contract status is on ice, meaning basically it's a nice way of saying it's on the back burner, because I think subtly CM Punk's contract has sort of been frozen due to his injury and the fact that Tony Khan does not want to make a rash decision before actually knowing, I guess, what he actually can do. Because I think Tony Khan would like to, and I don't think Tony Khan is alone in this. I think Tony Khan would like to see a resolution with CM Punk and the Elite, and maybe figure out a way to allow Punk to come back to AEW. Because if I was CM Punk, I would just want to go out on my terms, as opposed to being run out of another company. Because, I mean, I think the situation, to say that the situation from the fallout of the brawlout at All Out should have been handled better, or could have been handled better, I think that's an understatement that everybody can agree with. That it could have been handled better, not just the brawlout, but also the fallout, and also the initial conversation. That it's an initial conversation that should have been had by everybody involved, and it should have been handled a lot different. But I think, and I hope, that there is a possibility that this could be resolved in a more positive fashion, to where Punk could come back to AEW and give AEW the biggest coup that they've gotten since, well, the initial debut of CM Punk in AEW, and that is actually figuring out a way to get Punk back to the company. Do I think it's possible? I think anything can happen in professional wrestling. We've seen that. From the Warrior returning to WWE and forgiving Vince McMahon, to Punk returning to professional wrestling. I think anything can happen. We just gotta believe that it could. As far as where we go from here, it is that I feel like I wanted to mention, for two reasons, that Wrestle Kingdom 17 Night 2 is taking place tonight in Yokohama, Japan, or is taking place currently in Yokohama, Japan, with Pro Wrestling Noah versus New Japan, and also that New Japan is hosting the event specifically started with a tribute to Jay Briscoe. It just shows that the impact that the Briscoes had on the professional wrestling business, and the amount of love that the wrestling world has for Jay Briscoe, and the tragedy that is still being felt throughout the wrestling world that happened earlier this week. Again, I wish nothing but the best for Jay and Mark and his family, or in their family. It is surreal that, it is still surreal that it happened, and it just shows the, praise. I mean, it just shows the impact that the Briscoes had. Both Jay and Mark spent time in, I believe, Pro Wrestling Noah, and maybe New Japan, or spent some time, I don't know if they spent time, but I know they had matches with New Japan and Pro Wrestling Noah over the years. But also, I think some praise goes to WWE for also tributing Jay Briscoe during the event, having during SmackDown last night, having Michael Cole speak on Jay Briscoe, send a tribute and positive wishes to Jay's family. And you saw the Viking Raiders and Kevin Owens wearing Jay Briscoe wristbands during the event last night as well. So props to WWE, and props to New Japan and Pro Wrestling Noah for or props to Bushi Road, I guess is the best way to put it, for honoring Jay. And as I said, it just shows the impact and the legacy that Jay had and the Briscoes had on pro wrestling, that at this point we are still talking about and feeling the effects of the tragic events of this past week. I still say nothing but the best for Jay and his family, or for Mark and his family, and nothing but the best. But, Godspeed, Jay. Godspeed. Now on to some unexpected news, and the unexpected news is regarding MLW. MLW, as everybody knows, or as some people may know, MLW was supposed to have a television deal with Vice TV last year, but that fell apart due to WWE. For a smattering of reasons. Google is your friend. You can't attribute it to WWE because, well, there's a lawsuit going on for a reason, and I don't want to be a part of it. And the fact of the matter is, MLW found a new home. MLW's new home is Reels. Reels is currently aired in 68 million homes, and it is probably the biggest opportunity for MLW to become a nationally syndicated company again, or a nationally syndicated company to where people may know now who Alex Hammerstone and who Jacob Fatu are, and that there is another company within the wrestling world worth noting. I will point out that I think, as a Fios subscriber, which I have Verizon Fios as my cable subscriber, that I do believe we get Reels, and I think it is more likely that I have Reels than the other provider of MLW, which I believe is Ryzen Sports. I could be wrong. But first of all, props to Court Bauer and MLW for getting such a BEIN sport. And Pro Wrestling TV is where MLW Fusion is. But this television deal is going to see the return of MLW Underground, which was their premiere television program back during the initial run of MLW in the early 2000s. And I mean, if there was any question of the health of professional wrestling at this point, I don't think the professional wrestling business has been any healthier, and this should, in my opinion, provide some positive reinforcement to AEW when they look for as they're looking for a new TV deal or a return to TV with Warner Media. But MLW is set to debut on Reels on February the 7th, 3 days after MLW Super Fight, which is set to be headlined by Alex Hammerstone against Jacob Fatu for the MLW Heavyweight Championship. And MLW on Reels, or MLW Underground, is set to be headlined by EJ Nduka versus MLW Heavyweight Champion Alex Hammerstone, with the first hour of MLW. Also, I just want to, let me clarify. The MLW on Reels is going to be MLW Underground, and it will be featuring new content for the first hour and archive content for the second hour. So you could be seeing any sort of talent that are from the MLW archives, which features a smattering of superstars from the past, and there, I guarantee, are people within the archives of MLW that you did not even know worked for MLW in the past, like Bryan Danielson, Nigel McGuinness, Jay Lethal, and a smattering of others, AJ Styles, Christopher Daniels, and a smattering of others from the past. So this is by far something that was unexpected, in my opinion, but internally there is a great sense of hope and accomplishment now that Reels' deal has been completed. Reels has a strong support for MLW, and is, well, MLW, according to a report from PW Insider, MLW believes that they are done looking for a new TV partner, and they even shored up their production team, bringing in Gary Juster and Delirious, who were once a part of the Ring of Honor production team, to shore up the production team as and it is, those hires are said to be a reflection of that. Now, the Tubby deal last year was looked at as a transformative deal for the company, and then that deal went to hell hours before it was set to be public. Again, if you want to learn about that and what I spoke about earlier, Google is your friend. But either way, this is nothing but positive and nothing but good for MLW. And I just want to point out that this, much like the Rampage and SmackDown deal on Friday, with SmackDown going from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. on Tuesday, now wrestling is going to be, that we're going to have Wrestling Tuesday as well, with MLW and NXT occupying a time slot, the back-to-back time slots on Tuesday night. So NXT will air, and then MLW will air right after it, or right after, with MLW airing vintage footage at 11 p.m. weekly, which I believe that means that that they will start. Yes, because the show will be airing at 10 p.m. It will have a similar thing with SmackDown and Rampage, that it starts at 10, and then from 10 p.m. till 11 p.m. it's new content. 11 to 12 it's vintage. But either way, Reels has already started hyping up EJ and Duca versus Alex Hammerstone on February the 7th, the premiere episode of MLW Underground on Reels. Reels tweeted about MLW as the fastest growing league in professional wrestling on Twitter. So look for Reels channel, at Reels channel on Twitter, for hype for MLW on February the 7th, debuting. So with that being said, again, some unexpected news to end on, but this is the end of the news today. I will see you next time.